Welcome to Midlife Moves, where we're figuring out this whole midlife thing one day, one workout, and one what the hell just happened moment at a time. I'm Heather, and if you're navigating career shifts, fitness goals, parenting teenagers, or just wondering when the hell we became the grown-ups, you're in the right place. Let's talk about the real stuff, no filters, just honest conversations and a little bit of chaos. Let's get into it. Hi, and welcome back to Midlife Moves. I'm your host, Heather Francis. Today's episode, we're honoring Mother's Day. And in honor of Mother's Day, I sat down with my mom, Pepper Krach, to talk about something we've both grown to love deeply, and that's fitness. As you know, actually, when she and I first started talking about doing an episode together, I gave her a whole list of topics. I said, we can talk about anything you want. And she was like, I want to talk about fitness through the generations. And I was like, yes, done and done. That's what we're doing. We talk about fitness not just as a workout, but as a lifelong journey, a mindset, and a way to take care of ourselves through every phase of life. My mom's 69. She's going to be 70 next month. And she's one of the most disciplined, intentional, and strong women I know. She's a mother, a grandmother to 10, a businesswoman, and someone who's found powerful ways to stay active, stay grounded, and stay connected to herself over the decades. We talk about how fitness has changed for her over the years, from days of basement aerobics to building strength and flexibility in her 60s. We also dive into the emotional side of wellness, the way movement connects to mindset, the importance of building community, and how we as women often need to relearn how to take care of ourselves after a lifetime of caring for everyone else. Sound familiar? That sounds familiar, right? It's raw, honest, and deeply personal, and it reminded me just how much of what I do today is shaped by the example that she set. You'll hear us reflect on motherhood, aging, discipline, and the quiet power that comes with staying consistent, even when life is anything but. So whether you're listening on a walk or in the car, or you're just looking for a moment of peace, I hope this episode feels like a warm hug and a gentle nudge toward honoring your body, your story, and the version of yourself you're still becoming. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome back to Midlife Moves. I'm Heather Francis, and today I have the very distinct pleasure of hosting my mom, Pepper Krach. Welcome to
Pepper Krach.
The Pepper Krach.
Yes.
Welcome to my pod, and welcome to my podcast basement.
Thank you for having me.
We talked about you introducing yourself. So what do you think, what would you like everyone to know about you, Mom?
Well, I think based on our conversation today, we're going to be talking about our workout.
Our fitness experience.
Our fitness experience that I'm a mom and I'm a grandmother. I have 10 grandchildren and I have 2 children, you and Chad, and 3 stepchildren. And all 5 of you are very, very important to me and is my major motivation for staying fit, trying to stay healthy.
Yeah. But the fitness has always kind of played a role in your life, or it has for many years.
Definitely. I can remember when you were an infant and we lived over in our first home and aerobics were really popular. And our neighbor was an aerobics instructor. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
And so, we would that's when aerobics were really popular and, all the jumping around and everything. But I think in hindsight, that was really hard on your body. And I think that the aerobic instructor actually ended up with an autoimmune disease as a result of all of that exertion. So, but that's what my journey, my fitness journey, started as a child, right?
Yeah.
Really with elementary school, with the sports in school. We did not have organized sports, but after school, we would have our own pickup games, football, baseball, kick the can, kickball, from the neighborhood kid. Physical fitness in schools was new. I think Kennedy had introduced that as a program, and so all of that was brand new. That was in the 1960s.
Did Mimi play football with
No.
you? Okay, all right. Well, that makes a little bit of sense. So I guess I should backtrack. And you and I, when I told you I was doing this podcast, like one of the first things we said was how fun it would be for you to come on and talk on this.
Yeah.
Because, you're one of my best friends. So of course.
And we talk all the time. Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about fitness through the decades. So I'm 44. And you are do you want me to say your age?
Yeah,
You're
that's fine.
69?
16, soon to be 70
Soon
the
to be
next couple
70.
of months.
So you and I both work out a lot. It plays key roles in both of our lives.
It does.
When you were my age, what did that look like for you then? Because when you're in your 40s, it's much your situation is much different than, in your 60s, right?
It does, yeah.
But fitness has changed throughout those years. So what did that look like? What did your fitness look like when you were my age? That was a real long-winded way to ask that.
Well, I think what happens as you age is, and I'm looking back through decades, right? So you have your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and each decade held a different workout routine for me based on what was happening in my life. So, for example, in my 40s, I had dropped out of working out for a period of time. I was raising a family, I had teenage kids, and I really wasn't comfortable going back into the gym. And so I hired a personal trainer because I wasn't comfortable with the now, machines that they have in the gym. And, although, I'm married to an athlete, and physical fitness has always been a big part of our lives. We always had a gym in our basement, and, I would do the videos in the basement. I did a lot of working out at home.
You did a lot of working out at home.
Yeah, going down there in our basement.
Yes.
With the videos and doing the routines there. But that's very limited, and you wonder if you're doing it right. And
yeah.
I just reached a point where I saw change in my body, and for a variety of reasons, I wanted to go to a gym and be around other people. And so I started going with a personal trainer, and he helped me get comfortable with the weights, with the routine, with what I was doing. And so in my 40s, that was what I did. Now, back then, you didn't do the heavy lifting, and that it was a different mentality. They didn't really focus on building muscle. It was more around endurance, I think, and routine. Of course, that's changed over the years. I mean, if you think about it, when I was in my 40s, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, things change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where it started. And then, as I got into my 50s, I owned a business. I didn't have time to work out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, so I had stopped working out for a period of time. I would have loved to work out, but I just literally didn't have.
Yeah.
I couldn't build a business and work out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I was in my late 50s that I went back to the gym. And then the gym that I joined had classes. And I joined the classes, and that was a very, very different experience. And I remember going into my first class and literally almost crawling out on all fours after the class and thinking, I have to go back and do that again. And it's that journey is what's carried me through to today. Working out in the classes with other women has really made a difference for me.
Well, not just the fitness part, but you've also really built a community there.
Yes.
Like you have like a full friend group there.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been important too, because when I go to the gym now, they're now my friends.
Yeah.
I've been working out with them many years, and I know about their families, and we go out socially, and yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, that's very cool. At 4 a.m., there's not a whole lot of people you can hang out with afterwards.
No, there wouldn't be.
No.
That would be a more isolating experience. However, I think the journey that you're on from a fitness experience is very different from what I was going through. I mean, I've done a lot of isolated workout experiences. Like for years, we walked up at Valley Forge with my dog, right? And that was a period of time when I was isolated, but I was doing something, but I wasn't interacting with other people.
Yeah.
But that was very satisfying for me because of the demands of work and family and other things. But, once my children moved on, you all became independent, and then becoming more social, it was, filled a void, I think.
I never isolate because I talk to everyone, whether they want to talk to me or not. It's fun for me to. We went to Michigan last week, and when we came back, one of the guys was like, "Oh, you're back," and I was like, was it nice? Did you enjoy it? Because it's done. It's done. We don't go away again until June. But yeah, I don't have that community, and that's okay. Right now, for me, that's okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I could see that there may be a time that, I might seek that out a little bit more.
It will evolve and change. But I think the thing for me in my 50s, and I was taking a variety of classes. So, there might have been one class on strength, or one Pilates class, but one of the things that stood out for me was not only was I lacking in flexibility and strength, but balance. Because as you age, and you don't really, it kind of creeps up on you. All of a sudden, you're in your 50s, and you go to the gym, and you think, I've got great balance, only to find out that no, you don't. And that allowing your body to move in different ways that you wouldn't typically move in is very, very healing and creates great flexibility, not only in your body, but in your mind.
Yeah.
And there's a direct mind-body experience that I've found that takes place. And I feel like as I've aged, it's become more obvious to me.
Well, you have a very methodical and disciplined mindset practice that kind of goes into your whole life. Like you make sure you're meditating. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think all of that, your wellness overall, like that's part of it. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Too?
Yeah, because it's a philosophy. It's a personal philosophy that I live by. And it begins in the morning when I open my eyes and I do my meditation first thing in the morning. And that's critically important to start my day because it keeps me in a positive mindset, which I believe is critical. I also believe that by doing that meditation in the morning, it helps me to sleep at night. And it sounds really crazy, but I believe that doing that practice first thing in the morning helps me get a peaceful sleep at night. So let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
If I was meditating at the end of the day before I went to bed, which I think many people do, I don't think that it would be programming my mind far enough in advance to enable me to get immediate results for a night's sleep. I have to do it in the morning.
Yeah.
It's just everybody has a time and a metabolism, and that's what works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. That makes sense. Transitioning back into like your fitness, the balance part and the mobility, like all of that kind of goes together. Because like I have a hard time with balance when my mind is crazy. Like I just can't focus.
Yes, and I do too. If had a really stressful day, so I'll start off with the meditation, then I do my thing, I take the dog for a walk, so I get out, get the fresh air first thing in the morning. Then I'm working during the day, and at the end of the day at 5:30 is when I go back to the gym. And I, do my whatever class it is at that time, and then I come home and but getting back to there's a direct correlation to as you build strength. Like, for example, let's say 10 years ago, I was lifting 8-pound weights. Now I'm lifting 17.5-pound weights. That building that strength builds mental strength. And you don't realize it, but it's building stamina within your personality, within your life. It enables you're better equipped to deal with the curveballs in life that come at you. And as you age, my husband has some health issues, and you're constantly kind of knocked off balance. But if you've done had these physical experiences, somehow mentally it helps you to be more resilient. There's definitely a correlation to that, I believe.
Yeah, well, I know I struggle mentally when I don't work out in the morning. Like that's just, well, I think part of it is because I'm so routine based that if I don't have that time, then my routine is just thrown off. And then
well, and your routine is so interesting to me because, first of all, getting to the gym at 4:30 in the morning. Now, you and I vacation together.
Mm-hmm.
And in the summertime, we're up early.
Yeah.
And we're with our tea and coffee and sitting there talking. And then we go for a walk and the sun is rising.
Yes.
And that's a fun time for me. I mean, I really enjoy that.
Well, it's because we were in Avalon last weekend and I was like, this is where we'll walk in the morning.
Yeah, okay, you've already picked it out.
Scoping it all out. Yeah. Yeah. Because we went to go see the house.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, we start early.
Yeah.
But if I don't get it done, then I don't get it done.
That's right. Yeah. So you're making time for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you depend heavily on the classes.
I do depend heavily on the classes.
What classes do you take, Mom? Tell us about, because you lift weights.
Yeah.
In your classes. It's
I take a strength class twice a week, and that's physical. You're lifting, you're doing shoulder press, you're doing, all of those exercises that are building muscle mass. Mm-hmm. And, if Marcia, our friend and the trainer, will say that it's about building an A-line for your body as you're aging, right? And so it's about the building muscle to help you stand, have better posture, it helps your breathing. It all, it's all connected. Mm-hmm. And then I also do a Pilates class. It's called Pilates and More. Mm-hmm. Susan is the instructor for that. And that's about flexibility. Mm-hmm. That's about moving your body in different ways and not really building strength and muscle necessarily, but balance and flexibility. Yeah. And bending your body in ways that you wouldn't ordinarily do it, but building up this muscle strength. A lot of it has to do with building muscle strength in your legs and flexibility. Mm-hmm. Muscle memory is really important. So we do this one exercise where you get on all fours and you're, I forget the name for it, but you're like it's like a dog squat. Mm-hmm. One day I was walking Tilly, and I was distracted by another man and the dog because she was pulling me, and I wasn't paying attention, and I tripped on the curb. Mm-hmm. As I tripped on the curb, I was going forward, and I thought, oh, I'm going to fall right on my face. I quickly put my hands down, and my muscle memory immediately enabled my body to go into that squat that I've done so many times. Yeah. I was able to jump up. I didn't have a scratch on me. Yeah. So that's just one example how when you build up and know your body, it will protect you, because you're always hearing about women my age falling, tripping, breaking ankles, breaking wrists, because they don't have the muscle protection or the muscle memory to protect themselves in a fall, or how to get up. And, from all of that, you're up and down and doing squats, and your body is learning how to protect yourself. Yeah. Yeah, well, building up that muscle is key to injury prevention. I mean, it doesn't prevent everything, obviously, as we've seen. So what about you? Because you do a lot of lifting. You do heavy lifting. I do. What have you learned from doing that? I've learned that it's really cool to get strong. Like having muscles is fun. Like for me, it's a lot of fun. Like I think it's and it's fun. Good to feel strong. It's empowering. Good to feel strong. It's very empowering. What it's done more for my mental state than really anything. Like I've learned so many lessons about myself. Like I've learned that I can do really, really hard things. Like things that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do. I can do them, and I can do them alone. And my body is capable of really cool, we've both had children, and, like our bodies are obviously capable of very cool things. But, like we have more control than, we probably thought. I thought we did, especially because you had an athletic youth. As you know, I did not. I was not an athlete. And I didn't enjoy exercise or, like working out. There was really nothing that resonated with me until I found weightlifting. Yeah, you weren't interested in that. I remember one year I bought you tennis gear. I thought, let's get her involved in tennis. No, you were never interested in that. So I'm really, really thrilled that you've embraced this. I mean, and not just embraced it. I mean, you have excelled.
It's my whole personality.
Yes, it is. It's really interesting.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And part of it is and part of it's the physical part, like the physical aspect. Like I like how my body looks. Like at 44, like you, like I look at you and your physique is incredible. And not just for like incredible for a 69-year-old, like your physique is incredible. I watch your arms and you have tone and you have, like muscle. Like that's incredible. And I love that. And
Yeah.
I think that plays into, like how I view myself as a whole too. I don't know. It just kind of goes into body image, which is awesome.
It's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
How you look, how you feel, how you think, your energy level, your endurance. One of the things that I came upon recently, realized, is that life isn't a race, it's a marathon. And that one of the things about physical fitness is it creates endurance for that for life. And, the way you work out and everything changes over time, but it's critically important to enable you to be strong for the long haul.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've seen the elderly people walking around that are, unable to, walk. You can't walk.
Well, but even look at my mom.
Yeah, look at my mom.
She's 94?
Yes.
And she still does every other step.
She does.
Which she probably shouldn't do, but
she is, she's remarkable. Now, she started her fitness when we were little, and she was doing it with Jack LaLanne on television in her living room floor. So, you want to talk. She was a good example for me.
Yeah.
And I've, I think I've become an example for you.
You have.
You're now becoming an example for your own daughters. Pepper's rock climbing. Amber was an athlete in college and in high school. So, all of your children kind of follow that, your interest.
What I remember about, one of the things that I always remembered from when we were growing up was how you cooked. And that your food and the way that you feed yourself and in turn you fed us was always very, very balanced. We're an Italian family, so we like pasta. But it was it wasn't pasta for the sake of being pasta and carbs. It was pasta with ground turkey and, tomatoes, and it was always very whole and rounded and like a whole meal. So do you want to talk a little bit about how nutrition has played into how you feel you're doing now? Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. I believe that, and it's one of the major things that I've always believed about food and cooking is that it has to be natural food and it's fresh. So, I go to the farmer's market every Saturday and I'm buying, the fresh ground turkey, fresh vegetables, fresh fish. We don't eat meat anymore. Eating fresh and cooking a balanced meal to fuel your body is critically important if you're going to think well, be able to, have the energy to do the things that you want to do. You have to. And you can't, I rarely eat processed food.
Yeah.
If ever. It's just because what happens is your body becomes adapted.
Yeah.
And it's expectation. And after 70 years, what fuels. Plus, my mom, when I was growing up, that's how she always cooked.
Yeah.
Fresh, and she got that from her mother, who was Italian, who always got food from the market. So it's generational. Food definitely is generational.
Yeah. I know Amber likes to cook fish, which is always funny to me.
Uh-huh.
She cooks very much similar to how we cook.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and here, well, the kids still eat some processed food. But
Yeah,
Michael and I eat very...
Kids will. They're going to have pizza and they're going to have,
Which, you and I can eat some pizza too.
yeah.
We like that too.
Yeah, we do.
Not often. I like a pizza. I don't have it nearly enough.
I like a good pizza.
Well, a good pizza. That's the difference. Because
you get a San Danielle pizza with a good prosciutto on it, and they put the olive oil, and that's good pizza.
That sounds like good pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza. So your focus now, you talked a little bit about its mobility, its flexibility, its injury prevention. Those are your main goals at 69 versus, like my main goals right now are, well, I was in the sauna one day and I was talking to somebody about my workout and they were like, well, what are you training for? I was like, menopause. I'm training for menopause. Because I just saw from, my mom, like osteoporosis and like all of the things that can go with your body, and I'm experiencing a little bit of it now just with like the perimenopause part. But like, it's really, really important that we like actively train our bodies for those next phases. So you're training for like fall prevention you talked about. Is there anything else that your focus is on? So when you go to work out, like what are you thinking long-term? Like, and how do you see yourself? How do you see your fitness routine aging with you? Because as you retire, which is still a few years off for you.
It is. Yeah.
All of that will shift too.
Yeah. So when I work out, I'm not working out thinking about necessarily how I'm going to look the next day, or it's really more about stress reduction for me right now because I'm under a lot of stress. I have a very demanding job. I have a very demanding home life with taking care of Mike.
Yeah.
And so I carry a lot of stress. And so working out at the end of the day is really important so I can relieve that. Now there's secondary, advantages, of course, for doing that, working out. But so that's the number one I'm number one thing that I'm looking at. I think the second thing that I'm considering when I work out is keeping up with everybody else in the class, right? Because they're all much younger than I am.
Yeah.
And, I would say this, that in the next morning when I wake up, I will be sore. And about the mat. I lay on the mat every morning.
So talk about that a little bit.
So I do that. And I would say that without the mat, I wouldn't be able to do the intense workouts that I do and the weightlifting because I would be too sore really to recover fast enough to do the next class that night. So the mat, I don't even know how to describe it. I've been doing it for about 10 years. It's a full body mat. You lay down. It's programmed. It's connected to a box that increases the circulation of your blood and reduces inflammation. That enhanced circulation that you have gets the arteries that are in the outer extremities in particular, like into your fingers, into your feet and the legs. A lot of people as they age lose circulation in their legs and their feet, right? That exercise, it's bringing more oxygen into your system. I do a lot of deep breathing while I'm on the mat. You're supposed to do it twice a day, honestly, and I only do it once a day. But those are the benefits. It's controlling inflammation that you would get from a result of doing a really heavy lift and working out, and it keeps your body painless, you know? So I'm not taking Tylenol. I'm not taking anything to help relieve the soreness from working out. I'm doing the mat, and that does it for me.
Yeah. You travel a lot.
For work, yes.
For work. When I travel, my rule is I don't work out.
Those are
my designated rest days.
Yes.
And so you have the same kind of rule.
I do. I used to, when I was younger and I traveled, I would try to find the gym and it's so unsatisfying. You can't do the equipment. It's so I don't. If anything, I might do like a flow exercise in my room.
Yeah.
I do this crazy thing where, you're kind of, it's flow, you're moving your body. Yeah. It's not Tai Chi, it's kind of my own kind of method.
Yeah. Do you do that? How often do you do that?
If I'm traveling.
Just when you're traveling?
Yeah. Now, I do take a class on Tuesdays. It's very similar to that. That gives me some of the tools and creativity to be able to do that.
That's fantastic. Every once in a while, I'm like, I should take my yoga class again on Thursday mornings. And then Thursday mornings come and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to deadlift 200 pounds today. And then yoga doesn't happen.
It doesn't sound like yoga is going to satisfy you right now at this stage.
It probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
And they're all hot yoga, and I don't like to be hot.
Yeah. I don't like to be hot.
I have hot flashes as it is.
I don't like to be hot either. In fact, if I'm in the gym and it gets hot and I'm turning the fans on and everybody around me is going, turn the fan off. But I like having the cool air. I don't like to be hot.
I don't like to be hot when I'm working out. Not at all. What else don't we like, Mom? So what's one myth? That's a good one. What's one myth that you always heard about fitness that like now you see that like, oh, that wasn't accurate?
I'm not.
I know what I think.
Okay.
But it's involving strength training, of course.
All right.
And it's just like how easy it is to get bulky. Like as soon as you start lifting weights,
that's
you get
a good
bulky.
one. That's a good one. Yes.
I work out a lot, and I'm not.
You
bulky.
are not bulky. That's a really good one because I was always afraid. I thought, well, I'll just keep with the 8-pound weights.
Yeah.
And, you can't build muscle mass when by lifting 8-pound weights.
Yeah.
You have to keep increasing the weight in order to build that, and you don't bulk up. The other thing is that I think is really important, and why I mix Pilates with working with strength training is the stretching. Pilates pushes you to stretch your back and stretch your arms. And I recently went to a birthday party for some women that I went to high school with. And I noticed in the pictures that I was looking at afterwards how much taller I was than them. And it struck me, I thought, well, I was never taller than them. I think that from the stretching that I do repeatedly in those classes is helping me to maintain my height. Now, I'm going to lose, your bone, you're going to lose height over time just because as our body shrinks and everything. But that was really surprising to me to notice that. So, it's important to stretch your body and your limbs and your back. Yeah. And you do that in a variety of things when you take I like Pilates. I'm not a yoga person, but I like Pilates. So, but the bulk, that's a good myth.
Yeah, because even there, I will acknowledge there's times that I will, especially my arms when I'm working out and like I have like a pump, I'm like, that's very, very masculine, and there's time, but that's your pump and it goes away. And because I can wear a dress, like I can wear just about anything.
You're very slender looking. Yeah. You don't have to worry about that.
The other thing is like when I was in my like you did cardio to lose weight. That's how you lose weight. You do cardio.
Right. And that's a myth. That's a big myth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you would get on the treadmill. I'd get on the treadmill and run. I was running up at the park doing a couple mile runs. That's ridiculous. I hate running too. And plus, it's hard on your body.
It's really hard on your body.
Yeah.
I did those beach body workouts. I remember you coming over and I talked to you. I said, I'm doing like this. I don't remember what stupidity it was. And you were like, I don't know. Don't like, it's a lot on your knees. And it is, it's a lot of jumping.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will say that, your joints and your knees, my knees were always cracking, right? I did not have very strong legs or knees. And I will say that, where you hold the weights and you're doing squats and that strengthens your knees. Where I notice when there's new women that come into the class, they're having a lot of trouble because they haven't built up that strength yet with the muscles around their knees. Yeah. And so, and I know I have girlfriends too that are talking about getting knee replacements and hip replacements. But if you can build that muscle mass around supporting your limbs, it's really, really important.
Do you know what I do? I do the banded walks.
Oh, do you?
And if I don't do them, because I dislocated my knee when I was a teenager.
Yes,
and then again when Kaylee was a baby.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think I ever I know that I didn't rehab it effectively because I wasn't active. So it didn't matter.
Right.
You know, like I would go up and down stairs. That was the most of my activity.
Yeah.
But now that I'm trying to do all these ludicrous things, like I'm trying to do pistol squats with a knee that doesn't, work right. But anyway, the band, I notice a difference when I'm not actively doing that.
Yeah, yeah. It's really important that in the beginning, I used to be afraid that I would injure myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why they always say, don't bend your knee over your toe.
Yeah.
You have to be careful, which, that's hard to do. Mm-hmm. But it's important to do those exercises because over time you build up enough strength that you're actually supporting your knees and you're not going to have that problem, but you need to maintain it. You can't.
Yeah, right. It's not a one-time thing.
Right.
None of this is a one-time thing. It's a lifelong journey.
It is.
Yeah. I started late. You were always.
I would start something and then start something else, and then it was start and stop. I've been more consistent over the last 15 years. I would say.
That's all. 15 years.
Yeah.
What is your take on macros? Do you follow any of that? Because I do. I track my protein and my calories.
You do.
I do.
I used to. How do you track them?
MyFitnessPal.
Oh, it's an app.
It's an app. Mm-hmm.
And then you're entering what you're eating every day?
Every day. Well, no, that's not right. Currently, I'm not, because I'm not even in maintenance. I'm just in kind of free fall at the moment, which isn't the best place to be.
Well, you also get a sense after a while of what, is...
Like, I know that my breakfast is between 500 and 600 calories, and I know that my lunch is around 500 calories.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm supposed to be at 2,700 calories a day.
Yeah.
Then I know my protein bar is like 160 or something. So, like, I know what to eat for the most part.
Right.
Do you know where I fall down with ice cream and with pretzels and sun butter and just like random picking? That's where I fall down. That's where I can go from 2,700 to 3,500 calories really easy.
Easily. Mm-hmm. Easily. And I enjoy a glass of wine at the end of the day. That's an easy 200 calories just with one glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was Pepper's birthday yesterday, so I had so she wanted Italian, so we went to North Italia and we had like giant bread, and then we had, what else? I had a salad with salmon, so it really wasn't that bad. But then we came home and I had a giant piece of ice cream cake and a giant glass of wine, and then. Which yesterday, if that was just yesterday, that would be fine. But then we traveled last week, and that was every day last week. Like, it was just a lot of drinking and a lot of fried. You know what it's like when you travel and you go to those business dinners. Like, there's not a ton of options.
Right.
So we're calling this a bulking phase right now, but I've gained necessary weight, so I'm not mad about it. I'm just gonna kind of.
Yeah, and you'll fall back. Mm-hmm. Your body will fall back to its natural. What it's accustomed to. But as far as protein, I was drinking a protein drink in the morning that has 40 grams of protein in it. And I will say that when I was doing that, I noticed a difference in my nails and my hair because your nails and hair are protein. And that was kind of a big lesson for me because I noticed that my fingernails, and I don't know if this happens to everyone as you age, but they're just not as strong as they used to be. Yeah. And, so if I was getting a manicure, they might be breaking or whatever. But when I drank the protein, like, I forget the name of the brand of the protein drink. It's a chocolate drink. Yeah. And then at lunch, I usually make a smoothie at lunch, and I put a couple of scoops of protein into the smoothie. Mm-hmm. And it's usually a fruit smoothie with banana. Sometimes I'll throw a cucumber in or some vegetables, and that's usually my routine. And then at dinner it's something that's not natural food, fish, vegetables, and there's always a little bit of pasta. I have to make a little pasta every day. It has to be,
but that's really good for you. Like, having those carbs, like, that's brain food. You need to have that.
Yeah,
you need to have pasta. You need to have pasta.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what I go by. Yeah, I have the same thing every day too. I have the same breakfast, the same lunch. The dinner is the only variable, and it's generally something very round, like.
And I drink a ton of tea during the day. I'm on conference calls all day long, and I will drink several cups of tea, hot tea.
Yeah,
I like that.
So you're not eating. So you're getting most of your protein from fish.
Yes, or protein
drinks,
protein drinks, protein bar. I eat a bar on the way to the gym. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's that kind of protein.
Do you eat before your workouts? I don't eat before my workouts.
I don't know. I'm usually heading over there in an empty stomach, but I'll eat a energy bar.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I have a cup of, but it's 4 a.m. So like this, but this morning it was 5. So I did have a protein bar before I worked out this morning. But typically when it's 4, I can't eat anything. I have coffee.
Yeah,
and that's my pre-workout.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
It works. Mm-hmm. What is one exercise that I do that you would be willing to try?
Well, that's a good question because I'm not fully aware of your full exercise routine. I mean, I've seen the weights that you're lifting, and you're lifting heavy. What's your heaviest weight that you're lifting right now?
I bench pressed 105 pounds today.
105 pounds?
But that was, so previously my heaviest was like 85. So that was a substantial jump. That was really exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. I mean, I'll bench press 35 pounds just to give you a...
But the bench press is hard.
Bench press is hard.
Like I spend a lot of time with handstands. So, and that's all upper body.
Upper body, yeah.
I should be making that progress.
Uh-huh.
And I can deadlift 205, 210 pounds.
Wow. I guess the only thing that would hold me back is I'm always concerned about my back.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when I started working with Sean because I was so scared. I was so scared to lift anything heavy.
Yeah.
And because of that, I was so scared of hurting my back.
Yeah.
And he taught me how.
Uh-huh.
Because otherwise I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I do wear gloves.
Do you wear gloves?
Because as you age, you lose the padding, the fat padding in your hand. Uh-huh. So when you're lifting, you have your weights. It was just too much stress, so I wear gloves to protect my hands.
Yeah. I don't wear gloves, and I have the calluses, which are fine.
Yeah, but you still have a lot of fat you can see in your hand where you lose, you're losing the bone. You just see the bone, It's what you have to look forward to.
What else do I look forward to, Mom? That's not something I even considered. I tried gloves one time, and I just felt like my hands, I just didn't like them. But they may have been too big, and I think it was in the very beginning, and I wasn't I really had no idea what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you what I've learned from you over the years is consistency.
Interesting.
That is so seeing you, because I remember all through COVID.
All through COVID. Every night.
You did those virtual workouts. Mm-hmm. And it's like fitness is such a big part of your life that as I started to get into it, I did understand that this is what Mom does. If Mom's doing this, there's something to it, begrudgingly. And, but even with the food too. So a lot of the things that I do are modeled after you.
Oh, okay. Interesting. It's generation. It's 100%
generational. Yeah. I and even we talked about already, but Kaylee and I had a conversation down here, and she was talking about how the way she views her body is different because of the way that I view my body. She's much more loving of herself than maybe she was before.
Good. Well, you have to be, especially women, I'm convinced of this, have to be your own personal advocate for caring for yourself. Because as mothers, grandmothers, wives, we're nurturers. We're nurturing our families. We're always taking care of everyone else. And then we become the last one on the list.
Yeah.
In that nurturing, what we have to realize is that there is a mother inside of us. And so when we try to do things to nurture ourselves, we become guilty. And that guilt, like say, you splurge a little bit on a cute top or an outfit, and then you feel guilty because you spent the money.
Yeah.
Or what you have to understand is you're feeding that mother inside of you, and you want to honor her and be respectful of her, and she deserves that nurturing and the gifts so don't be afraid to be kind to yourself. I think that I've come to learn that it's critically important to your mental health to do that and not feel guilty about it.
One of the things, I talked to my friend Jay, and we talked a lot about mindset, and we talked a little bit about like what it means, like for people in general, but for us as women and mothers, to be selfish. And like, not selfish in the like the fuck everybody else selfish, but like selfish in the like, I need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yes.
I have to honor myself. And because like you and I have had the conversation, and, like part of what was, born from, this podcast is born from is like, I didn't do that at all for a very long time. You didn't do that for a long time either. Like your focus was us and work.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a day where you wake up and you realize like what you've done. And you're like, shit, how do I dig myself out of this? Like, how do I feel like a whole person?
Yeah.
Because that's a hard space to be in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's the adult learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
There is no roadmap to say, well, I know if I'm going to do this, and you kind of have to navigate becoming an adult and the different phases of life on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have role models, but until you live it yourself and determine and decide for yourself, because nobody else can do it for you but you.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't never ask themselves those questions or make the changes based on what's happening. And some people are very good at it.
Yeah.
But it usually occurs when you find yourself you're in trouble in some way, whether it's physical, mental, whatever, in relational, spiritual, any of those areas. Things start going sideways, and then you have to reassess and make some changes. But being open to change and being resilient is really, a critical piece to the whole thing. And I think that working out helps you to develop resiliency.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, and that goes back to the mental part, right? Like I'm calmer. I'm very anxious generally all the time, but since I've been doing this, I haven't felt the need to be medicated for it.
And you're more in control. You are just, you feel like you're, but the essence that I get from you is that you are very in control of what's going on. Now, you may not feel that way inside. You have a lot going. You've got more going on than I do.
Well,
you've got a big family that you're taking care of, a business that you're running. You're doing this. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But, you could be very scattered. I mean, there's 100 things, but the sense I get from you is you're very in control. You're very disciplined. You're strong.
Oh. Mom, we should do this more often. I think the same thing of you. And that's funny you say that because I don't feel that way. Like I feel scattered and like a mess 90% of the time.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think everybody can say that about themselves. And it's so interesting to hear other people's perspective of you.
Yeah.
And I've learned that too. I mean, there's, but I would say that everyone also has an essence that they give off, and the essence you share is one of, being controlled, being disciplined, being strong, being smart, being a good parent. All those things stem from your focus of trying to do all the things that are right for you, for your family, from a mental standpoint, physical standpoint. Yeah, I'm very proud of all the things that you're doing and the person that you are.
Oh, Mom, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do with myself now. What did you take from our conversation?
Well, a team sport, I wasn't an organized sport, but we played, with the neighborhood kids. And I believe that team sport was really important. because of being in business is a team sport. And those skills that I learned as a kid, I'm carrying over in work every single day.
Yes.
And, that's a long stretch, but that's where it all starts.
Aren't there some companies that's one of the questions they ask upon hiring?
Probably. Yeah, sure.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to know how to integrate as a team. But anyway, I would say my biggest takeaway from our conversation today is the awareness of the strong person that you are, and you always have been. But the direction that you're focusing it in, and your recognition of it being generational, I think that was really, a little bit of an aha.
Really, it's so funny because Pepper and I are very similar, and all the girls are very similar to me, like in their own ways. And I'm very similar to you. Like there's times that I do things and I'm like, oh, I'm my mom. Like Michael points it out to me a lot. He's like, you're your mother. And then he like cries a little bit more. Because he's like, I don't just have you, I've got her too.
Yeah, right.
It's happening. But it's absolutely fascinating. And like, thank God, because like, I think that we're fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have fun together.
We have fun together. Yeah, I think that we're hilarious. I couldn't ask for a better person to be like.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing this with me.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you for inviting me. I was very honored, and this was
we're going to do it again. Don't you worry. We're going to do it again.
Okay. I look forward to it.
Good. That's it for this episode. If you had fun, learned something, or just feel a little less alone in the chaos, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want to keep the conversation going, come find me on Instagram @HeatherMoves_, because midlife is way more fun when we do it together. Until next time, keep moving forward, or at least keep moving. See ya.